In this video tutorial, we will discuss how to create a web report using SonarWiz Map. Once you've done all your post-processing in SonarWiz Map, you want to show your client or your manager or someone else exactly what you've done. The best way to do this is to use a web report. SonarWiz Map will take everything that is active in the map window and export it such that it can be viewed in a web browser such as Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, or Safari. When you're ready to export all your work into a web report, you must realize that what is being displayed in the map window is what is going to be exported. In this particular example, I have a raster nautical chart. On top of that, I have an esri.asc file with bathymetry. On top of that are my sonar files, and on top of that are my contacts. Notice in my project file viewer on the left that not all my sonar files are active. Only the ones that are displayed at this moment are the ones that are going to be exported in my web report. If you decide that you would like to export contacts in your web report, you must ensure two things. First, that the contacts you want are active on your map window, and second, that an HTML contact report has been created inside the contact manager. It is very important that no contact editing has occurred from the time of creation of your HTML contact report to the creation of your entire project web report. Once you're ready to export your project as a website, go to the Export menu and select the menu item, which is Save Project as Website. This will bring up the dialog known as Save Project as Website, where we're going to fill in a number of different things. If you're using SonarWiz Map 4, you must choose File, Export, Save Project as Website. This will bring up the same menu as in SonarWiz Map 5, which is the Save Project as Website dialog. Now that my Save Project as Website dialog is open, I need to fill in some information. The very first thing SonarWiz Map wants to know is where we're going to take all of these files that we're about to create and where we're going to put them. By default, it will offer you an output folder, which is your project directory and the subdirectory web. I suggest you leave this as it is. Next, if you'd like to have a logo image in your web report that you're about to create, you can do this. I'm going to do this very quickly by simply going to My Documents and finding my Chesapeake logo, which is located in this particular directory. I'm going to double click on my Chesapeake logo. That will come up. If I have a URL for my company website, I can do that. I'm going to use chesapeaketech.com. My company name, I'm going to use CTI. Title of my project is Sydney Training. If I have a description of this particular project, I can do that. I'm simply going to say training, but I could add more to this, and I could put this particular description on all my web pages that are going to show up. The background color of my web page will be black, and in order to have some contrast, I'm going to choose the color yellow for all my text. Now, if you have a target report that you want to link in this particular website, this is where you do it. And remember, as I mentioned before, it's really important that once your contact HTML report was created, that you've done no contact editing in the meantime. If you've done any, you're going to find that your contact report doesn't come out right. So I'm going to browse to my contact report, which is going to be located in my SonarWiz Map directory in my projects. So I'm going to go back and find that. So under SonarWiz projects, under my Sydney project, I'm going to go on to my targets, and under reports, notice there are 3 reports here. The one that I know that I want is called Web2. Inside the Web2 directory, the file I must choose is the file name .html, which matches the name of the directory. Sometimes there can be a lot of files in this directory. Make sure that the file you choose matches the name of the directory, and click on Open. Next, what we're going to do is choose exactly what we want for image resolution. You choose your resolution on the left, and over on the right it tells you how many tiles are going to be created. If you exceed 8 megabytes in one particular tile, SonarWiz Map will then divide the images that are going to be created such that none of them exceed 8 megabytes. With this particular resolution, notice that I have 2 tiles that are going to be created at 6.8 megabytes each. Finally, the last thing to do is decide whether or not we want our user who's going to receive this report to see all the waterfall imagery. I like to include this in my reports, so I'm going to click it, and I can also annotate my waterfall images. Normally, what I include when I do this is I enable the image annotations. I will use position XY, altitude, and heading, and every 1,000 pings this information will be drawn. There's a lot more information that can be chosen in this particular menu, and this is well documented in the user guide. I click on OK, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to click on OK here. What's going to happen is SonarWiz Map is going to go through a number of different calculations. The one that takes the longest is the creation of the images that are going to go on the website, and when it's finished, my default web browser will pop up and I will see the web report that's been created. So I will click on OK now, and I'll come back when the web report has been created. When SonarWiz Map has finished creating the website, your default web browser for your computer will pop up and the website will be loaded in that web browser. On this particular machine, I'm using Firefox, and Firefox is open. First thing we see on the top left is the logo I chose, and there's a link here to the website that I designated, which is the Chesapeake Technology website, and you can see it pop up here. Let me go back to the Sydney training. Underneath my logo, there is also a text link that goes to the Chesapeake website. Here's the title, Sydney training. Below that is the description I used, and then you can see the overall imagery that shows us the whole project, and see that there are two tiles. By clicking on one particular tile, in this case I'll click on the lower tile, a new web page will open and will show me full resolution of this particular image. And I can use the scroll bars within the web browser on the right and on the bottom to look at my imagery. And when I have a contact report linked, when I see the contact, I can click on the contact. That will bring up yet another page which links to the contact report. I will see the contact report as well as the computer generated information and the user generated information. Going back to the contact image itself, if I click on the image, it will expand and I'll get a higher resolution image. Here it is refreshing. And if I click one more time, it will zoom in even more to full resolution, and then I can go and use my scroll bars to see it exactly. When I'm done looking at the contact, I can close this window and I come back to the full resolution tile image. And one thing to point out, at the bottom of the screen, whether you're using Internet Explorer or Firefox, you'll see in the status bar latitude and longitude as well as XY coordinates. So your user, regardless if they have a geographic information system on their computer or not, they'll be able to see latitudes and longitudes. When I'm done with the full resolution image, I can close it and I come back to the main web report. Inside the main web report, you can see the waterfall images from the project that I included. I'll just load up the first one by clicking on it. This brings up a new window, and in this window I will see the full waterfall display with my image annotations. Here you can see the X and Y positions, the heading and the altitude, and these show up every 1,000 pings. And this will show me the waterfall display, and once again you will see that I have the X and Y position down in the bottom as well as the latitude and longitude. Once I'm finished here, I can close this and go back to the main web report. Some final notes on creating web reports. First is that if you're using Internet Explorer as your default web browser, Internet Explorer will complain every time you click on a new web page that there is an ActiveX control, and you will have to manually tell it each time on each page to yes, allow ActiveX control. Soon you will learn to appreciate Firefox. The next thing to discuss is exactly what is inside the web report with regards to the files. If you go to your Tools menu and select Open the Project folder, under the Project folder in the web directory, you will see a very large number of files. These files, if they are copied directly to something like a DVD-ROM or a CD-ROM, if you have enough room, will automatically open up the user's web browser when they insert the DVD into their computer because of a file called autorun.inf, which is created automatically when the web report is created. So once again, if you take all of these files and copy them to a DVD or a CD and then give it to your user, they'll put it in their CD drive, or it will open up automatically and they will get to see your web report. This concludes making a web report with SonarWiz Map. Thank you.